Hey, everybody. Welcome to the show. This is Movie Talk. Yes, this is on both the NCR and NCR Movie Network. And I know it says Tones is my special guest. That was a mistake on my end. I forgot to put the new intro in. My apologies. But I am joined by two very special guests. I am joined by a good co-host, a good friend to everyone's channels, and the best mod out there, Maddie B, Agent of Chaos.
Hi, everyone.
And not only do we have Maddie B with us, we have an expert in films, especially things involving, how can I phrase this? Certain things that are the way, the lovable, the cuttable, Mando Mike.
Cuttable, really?
I'm trying to upsell you, sir.
All right. Hey, I'll go cuttable. Unless you're Miss Mandy, who still has my damn codpiece.
Yes. On that note, that's a good segue. Let's welcome everyone here in the side chat and who is lurking. We have Maddie B, Agent of Chaos, NCR News, and NCR Movie Network. I don't know those guys. Those guys are a bit weird. Mando Mike, Jared Reed, Abby Paulin, Miss Mandy 777, Pat Dollinger, and everyone else who is lurking. Welcome. Oh, Damian Paxton. Good to see you, buddy.
Oh, and hey, Abby, Fuma is here.
Oh, yes, the Fuma has arrived. Now, Tim Hicks, welcome. This is unlike...
I have a request. Since we're going to go into movies and stuff, I actually have something that I would love to get everybody's theoretical opinion on.
Absolutely. If this is going to get me demonetized, Mando, I'm going to tell you now, no. If it's what I think it is, no.
Oh, come on. Fuck the mouse.
You say that, but I need the money.
I tell you what, I will copy
hey,
I use
to
fight these claims.
I don't want to play that, Mando. We're not going to play that because I am not. I like having commercials in my videos. Mr. and Mrs. Bix El Bay. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right. Welcome. But Mando, I do love having you here because you are in film school, as a lot of people may not know.
For the next 12 days.
Mando Mike is an inspiring film student, and his expert opinion on what we're going to be talking about today would be phenomenal. And of course, Maddie, you said that you're not really knowledgeable in the film industry, but I would like to get your opinion as the viewer and the consumer of the materials.
Yeah, that's perfect.
Damien, I will open up the panel later on for everyone to come up and ask a question about upcoming things and if they have a certain topic they want me to talk about. But let's get into what we are here for first, is coming attractions. And I was sent this by somebody in the community. Right up your alley, sent me this. It's a trailer for an upcoming horror film.
Yeah, let's call it that.
And it's a very unique horror film. And I'm looking forward to reviewing it when it comes out.
It's special.
Oh, it's more than special.
It's short bus special, guys.
This movie can only be described as what happens if you let Jose de Castro finance a movie.
Oh, Juggernaut. Real quick, Juggernaut if you're in Miss Mandy's Discord server, I shared the other day his perfect girlfriend.
I was not there, so I don't know what you're talking about, Mando.
Oh, okay. Well, give me a couple minutes. I'll go find it.
Advice to Jared: do not trust a word that comes out of Mando's mouth.
So cute. What is that?
That's a sloth.
Yes, the deadliest of all animals is making its way into the horror
Oh,
scene.
really? That's so?
Maybe they just tricked us all.
In the jungle, she's a beta, but out here, she's
I didn't
an
know Chili was
alpha.
getting new work. Did you guys?
Alpha.
It is a wild animal. You don't even know what it eats.
Alpha?
It's a slaughterhouse.
Ah,
Oh God! That'd be Elsa.
welcome to Slaughterhouse.
Wow.
But it's a sloth. They don't move very quick. You can just. You don't even need to run from it. Just walk away.
Oh.
We're going to respect her wishes. She is our friend, Mando.
Fine. Although technically, I got it off of Facebook.
Okay, here is the plot for Slaughterhouse. A young
Wait,
senior,
it actually has a plot.
yes, a young senior who wants to be elected as her sorority's president adopts a cute sloth, thinking it can become the new mascot and help her win. But a string of deaths leave the sloth as the main suspect in these crimes.
Oh my God, that's the description.
That is the IMDb description of this movie.
Oh Jesus!
And not only that, this is the most shocking thing. It is getting a theatrical release. This is not going straight to digital.
Oh my God!
Jared had confirmed to me that the AMC theaters are going to be airing this movie.
Well,
Okay.
they are hurting for content, honestly. But still, I won't see it. I can tell you right now, the trailer editing was left a lot to be desired.
Oh yeah.
The
the-
whole
the-
thing, not just the editing, the whole everything about it, just left a lot to be desired.
Well, the whole tagline or whatever log line, whatever you want to call it, that's just too much. I mean, it pretty much just gave away the entire story.
Oh yeah. You know,
Yeah.
the beauty of a trailer is to entice the viewers. And for me personally, like a great trailer is I have one coming. It shows a great trailer and what a movie should do to draw its fans in. But and I love the campy B movies. I love cheesy movies. This just looks like this is going to be something I'm going to just rip apart, and I am not expecting much. However, this next one I'm actually looking forward to. This is a fan film. And Mando, you're working on a fan film.
Yeah, I've had to push that back because Lucas and Disney are kind of assholes on getting funding.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, otherwise, I got pretty much everything set up that once I have the funding, I can start buying the shit and do production on it.
But you know, you as a personal fan of your Star Wars fan film, I want your opinion as someone who can tell they're passionate about the project.
Oh, definitely. I mean, just the slaughterhouse, whatever the fuck it was called.
Slaughterhouse.
Yeah, I don't really fucking care. But I mean, just that alone, from what I saw, there was no passion. It was literally, hey, let's crank something out. I mean, honestly, I would not be surprised if they come out and say that AI had a big ass way of helping it.
Oh, I wouldn't be surprised by that either.
Yeah,
But-
it just seemed really. I mean, I did do some film stuff at college, but we're talking a long, long time ago. But it just seemed like it was because, like, I went to college like 20 odd years ago. But it just seemed like it's really cheaply like it's more. But you can be really clever if you've got a low budget. But it just didn't seem very well executed.
Oh yeah. Now
Even
this
the
is,
sloth itself just looks ridiculous, unless it was actually made to look that way. But yeah, it just didn't look right.
I'm thinking it might have been Jared. This is a Nightmare on Elm Street fan film called Dylan's New Nightmare. So let's take a look at this.
Is it a story?
Yeah.
I love the fact that they're actually using some footage and dialogue from the.
Rex keeps him down there.
from the-
This is well done.
Dylan.
Sorry, Doc. What was that?
Dylan, what's really bothering you?
Had a nightmare last night.
Tell me about it.
2 people died this time.
What do you mean 2 people died? How?
One shot himself and the other slit her own throat.
Why do you think they did that?
I don't know. Why does anything happen in a dream?
I just want to be sure that these dreams you're having aren't symptomatic of a resurgence of your childhood trauma.
They're not.
Are you getting your rest?
It's been manageable, Doc. I think I have it under control.
Now this is a well-made trailer.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. Got me gripped already.
That's really well made.
Yeah.
The attention to detail alone
Mhm.
is phenomenal. And this is, again, a fan film, so I couldn't really find anything out on the plot. However, what I have found from some news articles is this is going to take place, again, in the future. This is a unofficial sequel to Wes Craven's New Nightmare, where the young man we saw in the film is the actual child actor Miko who played Heather Langenkamp's son in that film. He is 100% behind it. He is trying to get the Wes Craven estate to back it as well. Robert Englund has said that he is looking forward to seeing it because he saw how phenomenal Nico was an actor. Thank you, Jared. I'll take a look at that when I get a chance.
Yeah. So from an editor standpoint, that trailer was spot on. The cuts were done on perfect timing of the beats of the music. The sound effects were on point.
Mhm.
The lighting was fucking brilliant. I loved it. It gives you that somber horror style look when he's in the dreams versus the reality where it's more. It looked like there was a lot more blues and a lot more like normal calming to it.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm very impressed. I would actually like to see when it comes out and how it looks and everything.
Yeah,
I would as
I
well.
absolutely agree. It was really engaging. It really, but like you said, well, like you criticised in the previous one, it doesn't really draw you into want to find out more and want to go see it. But that really did. That had me like more or less on the edge of my seat. Like, oh, this looks amazing, and I really want to know what the plot line is, what the story's going to be.
Yeah, because like I'm not a fan of horror movies. I think they've been overplayed. They all follow pretty much the same storyline setup. But
Mhm.
I'm a huge fan of when I see special effects and practical effects merged together, and that was beautiful. The Freddy Krueger's face, they did an amazing job on.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm absolutely. I would go and see it just for the film aspect of it.
Now, the main issue we're having with the Craven estate is, since Wes is passing, they now own the rights, and they are shopping around the idea of releasing a new film officially, but they want a little too much for the distribution rights, which I can understand, and they're trying to protect their Wes's properties and his ideas. But I heard a possibility that Blumhouse might do one. And if so, they want to go with a CGI Freddy. However, they want to get Robert Englund to do the voice.
So my only problem with CGI is when it's done right, it's done well. I mean, you can barely tell. My biggest issue is that I would much rather see a blend of practical versus CGI. I just think that looks better. With the rendering techniques and stuff, you can map a face of a person almost down to the hair. So I don't know why they want to keep going straight CGI. In my opinion, the best ones that are done are built up from the practical aspect and then converted into a CGI or special effects.
Now, the main reason they would have to go CGI is if they wanted to use Robert Englund, he's done playing the role. He doesn't want to do the role anymore. He wouldn't mind coming back for a cameo or something like that.
Well, what's going to happen then, most likely, is they're going to pass it off to the next generation. So I would not be surprised if we see a new Freddy come out. Which, I mean, if it's done right, it wouldn't be a bad thing. But the biggest issue that I'm facing when I look at a lot of these remakes or continuations that they're never done right. There's so much real world bullshit put into it that it ruins it.
Oh, yeah. And Jared, congratulations on getting the gifted membership. Welcome to the local reporters. You will be mentioned in the next video. Also, I forgot to mention this at the start. If you super chat any denomination or any super sticker, you get to hear this. You get to watch me bust my ass and die on the inside.
You're just fucking broke.
And don't worry, folks. A better version will be out probably in the next couple of weeks.
Yes. Any super thank you, any super thanks, any super sticker, any super chat, you get to hear me bust my ass on Mando Mike's live stream again.
Oh, those were the days.
Oh, they were. Since that's all we have for the upcoming trailers for theatrical.
Well, if you don't mind, I would like to share one of mine.
Absolutely. I would love to do that. Hey, Pokey.
Hey, Pokey.
Hi, Pokey.
So, this isn't perfect by like Hollywood standards. I'm happy with it. I did my best with some of the cuts to get it cut just right. But you'll see, like, you know, I'm by no means an expert. I'm probably more knowledgeable than I am an expert. But compare what this is versus Slaughter
House.
Fuck Me in the Ass House, whatever it's called.
Hey. I got corporate overlords I got to bow down to.
Dear YouTube, the views and expressions expressed by Mando Mike is not representative of NCR News Network. Your discretion is strongly advised.
Is there anything you want us to know about what we're about to watch?
So the actor is was one of my best classmates. He was a fucking awesome friend. He passed away on my birthday in June. So it was hard to re-edit and get this done because the guy was just freaking amazing. But we did a lot with him. His short film was one of the ones I was working on. His wife loved it. We were able to put in a showcase that the school was holding. And at the end of the showcase, we actually presented her with his diploma. So this means a lot to me. Like I said, amazing guy, and he really encouraged me. In fact, when we first did this, he told me, he's like, dude, he's like, you should work on a recut of this. And I just never got to it until, I hate to say it, but until he was gone, it's like, shit, I think he was right. So.
If there's nothing else, let's take a look at what Mando Mike has for us. I'm not gonna lie, I like that jacket.
Oh, I love that jacket.
Where the fuck are you? I've been here for like 20 minutes.
Are you a fan of older TV?
Are you fucking serious?
I asked because I was very recently reminded of the scene from the show. Can't even remember the name, but it had these two ladies having what seemed like a normal conversation.
Jesus Christ, I'm leaving.
Relax. I'll be along in just a few short moments. Anyways, the scene grows in intensity. Then the camera slowly pulls back as the conversation ends, revealing a man had been in the room, holding the other lady at gunpoint the whole time. And this phone call these women were having was actually tying up loose ends. I'm sorry, Marcus.
Wow. That was actually really good, Mando. I like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, me too.
Thank you.
Your friend was very talented. He was very well portrayed in acting. I will say that, sir.
Yeah, he was. So there's like 3 people in our class that, honestly, if they wanted to, they could be actors, and he was definitely one of them. So it's like it's sad to see that talent leave, but at the same time, I'm glad I can do him justice.
Now, we're going to move along to some talking points we have for today, and the first things I want to bring up would be the tragic passings of 2 actors this week. We lost 2 great talents in Hollywood. Paul Reubens, a.k.a. Pee Wee Herman,
Mm-hmm.
and Marcus McGinnis, a well-known, popular, talented character actor who was known for playing the drug lord in the wheelchair in Better Call Saul, but he was also a mob boss in the HBO TV series Oz.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Both talented actors. The details on Mr. McGinnis's passing is still out of my hands right now. I believe it was natural causes. I don't believe he had any underlying health concerns. And again, the same for Paul Reubens. But I just wanted to talk about some of their talented roles that we might have seen them in, and some of their characters that we enjoyed.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there are a lot of losses this year that I've like, damn. I mean, hell, I can't remember his name, but the guy that's playing the new Sith Lord in the Ahsoka series, he passed away. I'm like, are you serious?
And he was major in the world of Star Wars. He's played several characters in the animated series. He's played several characters in the video games, and now he was also on, I believe, Game of Thrones.
Yeah, I think you're right.
We lost so many talented actors. We lost Julian Sands, Treat Wilson. We also lost Sinead O'Connor and Tony Bennett. This past few weeks for celebrity passings have been real hard, and it's sad to see talent like theirs fade away. But the best thing we can do as fans is remember their roles, remember their music, and pass it down to people.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, it's just, I think a large part of it is that the younger talent now doesn't have the depth that the older talent does.
I'd agree.
And some of the scripts call for older talent, which is great. That wasn't always the case in Hollywood history. There used to be a time where if you're over 30, you were considered out, and now it's like we got actors in their 80s and 90s that are kicking shit out and actually doing a good job.
Take Helen Mirren, for example, in the Fast and the Furious series. You wouldn't think, an actress at her age would be doing extreme action movies, but for the last few years, she's been doing that. She's done a couple of Fast and Furious movies. She's done both Red 1 and 2. And a talented comedic actress as well.
Yeah, I mean, look at Patrick Stewart. He's getting up there. I mean, shit, honestly, he's been up there in age since like early 2000. but he's still knocking out good shit. I know that the new Star Trek, the whole Picard series, I know some people like it, some people don't, but I'm looking at it going, it ain't that bad. I mean, I enjoy it. Yeah, and he's still a talented actor.
He still does a lot of stage work too, like theater work.
Oh yeah, his theater work is like next to none. I mean, he absolutely devoted to it. In fact, I think he enjoys it more than he does doing actual live action.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and he's, what is he, like 82, 83, something along those lines.
Now, here's something I wanted to bring up, because this is, I just love how committed to a character role Paul Rubin was. Now, I'm old enough to remember this. Mando, you probably are as well, and so is Maddie. Do you remember the Tim Burton Batman Returns, the sequel to the 1987-88 Batman?
The one where they spent millions of dollars recreating Gotham City that they later abandoned?
I think that was Batman Forever.
No, it was, I believe it was Tim Burton's. Let me look it up. But yeah, what they spent at the time, I think it was like $8 or $9 million.
I bring this up because in the opening of the movie, we're introduced to the Cobblepots. And the Cobblepots is the surname to the Penguin. And Paul Rubens played the Penguin's father. Now, here's how he is committed to the role of that. When they did Gotham, the Fox TV series, he came back to play the father of the Penguin. Hey, Mark's here. Oh, hi, Mark.
Well, hi, you wanker. Oh, wait, did I say that out loud?
Now, here's something I wanted to bring up, and this is a good talking point. Now, there's been a lot of controversy in the world of Hollywood when it comes to the remakes.
Oh, God.
And one of the controversies has been casting issues. You can't cast a person of color for this role. It's a white character. I don't care about that. Now, one thing I do want to bring up is the controversial non-casting of little people in the roles of the new dwarfs in the Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, and the new Willy Wonka.
Mm-hmm.
Now, my personal opinion is I believe they should have those roles open for anybody, but those are predominant roles for little people, and it's hard for little people in the film industry to get roles. How do you guys feel having those roles taken by normal heighted actors?
So, I don't like any of real life bullshit being pushed into movies.
Mm-hmm.
I've tried staying non-political, both on my channel and on everybody else's channel. But at the same time, I have to be true to me. I don't think any social justice bullshit should be pushed into any film or any show. If the actor is good enough for that role, they should be casted regardless of any of that shit. Which in the 90s and back in the civil rights movements and stuff, that was the goal, was let's not judge somebody on their skin or on outer appearance, but let's judge them by what they can do. And for us to now look back and say that we need, for example, we need an all-female Ghostbusters movie. Why? Why do we need an all-female one? Why couldn't it be maybe half female, half male? Whoever's best for the job. And like I don't like that, and nobody likes it because that movie bombed. Right now, with Snow White, they're fixing there are talks about canceling it because of the backlash. I like you said, little people have a hard time getting roles because usually roles are not designed for them in mind. And it's not to say that, we don't want them in the film or anything. It's just that the normal thought as a creator, because I have written scripts. I mean, I have 3 scripts right now that I'm sitting on. And I have not thought about the appearance of the person. Now, with that being said, in all 3 of my scripts, if a little person did want to audition for it and was a damn good actor or actress, yeah, I would rearrange my script for that person. Yeah, I want the best talent possible for my project, whatever it is, whether it's a film or a show or whatever. I want the best talent that I can put on the screen. And being an indie filmmaker and having little to no budget, if they're willing to work with me on pay and stuff like that, or even work for free like some of them have done in the past, just to get their names out there, then absolutely. Why would I turn them away? I just don't see the logic, and that's one of the reasons why the sequels failed for Star Wars. That's one of the reasons why certain Star Trek shows are, I wouldn't say failing, but they're not widely accepted. I don't care for it. Give me the best talent. That's what I want to see. If they can sell whatever the vision is, that's what we should be worried about. And I saw the interview of I can't think of his name, the little guy in Game of Thrones.
Peter Dinklage.
Yeah, I saw the interview where he was, in my opinion, he turned his back on the community of the little people. And when I was listening to him, I'm like, dude, what the fuck are you doing? It's like, it's great that you made your name and that you're making a shit ton of money off of your work. And he is a good actor. I enjoy his acting beyond belief. But for him to turn around and essentially close the door on all the other little people who want to be actors, I think is wrong. If I make it big, and that's literally like me making it big and working for Lucasfilms, and then turning around and saying, "Oh yeah, fat guys shouldn't be working at Lucasfilms. Fat guys have no roles in the industry." Well, that's not right. If anything, I want to help other fat guys. I want to help other guys that are too tall for most parts. You know, why would I want? Why would I not want a competition? If there's more competition, that's going to make me want to step up my game and do a better job. With the Hollywood film industry, there's so little competition as far as the studios because they have the money, they have the pull, they have the power, and nobody's challenged them, which is one of the reasons why a lot of people are enjoying indie films more than they do the Hollywood films. You know, I got a friend right now in California. She is an actress and got a part in an indie horror film, and she just found out that they got nominated for, I think it was 4 or 5 different indie film awards and won like 3 of them. And that helps her out because the director, the producer, the people that made it are making money off of the awards, and they can then turn around and do other productions with the same cast and crew and afford to pay them.
Also, before we continue, Abby, congratulations on a gifted membership. Welcome to the local reporters. Again, guys, gifted memberships are welcomed. Any super chat, super thanks, or super sticker will get the iconic video of me breaking my ass on the floor as my chair broke on Mando's live stream, which everybody loves to hear me die on the inside.
Yes, that will never not be funny.
Let's see. So, Juggernaut.
Can we address that later? Your takes on the strike. Maddie, you've been quiet on this. Do you have any opinions you'd like to share on this, on the casting of non-little people in traditional little people roles?
I think similar to what Mando said, it tends to be that there's probably a huge pool of little people actors and actresses out there, or certainly aspiring ones, but it tends to be that the same people. It tends to be there's a very narrow pool of people who actually get those roles, and it's limiting other people, and so therefore, if they're and I can see why you would get, you want to give whoever does the best audition for that role, regardless of their height or ethnicity or whatever, you want to give them that role. It seems like it's taken away opportunities for actors that just haven't, because of how Hollywood works. You're not going to get, unfortunately, you're never going to get a little person being a romantic lead or a main character. They're always going to be side characters, and it's a real shame, but that's just the way it works, and that's just the way it works in relation to other actors who are of a more average height. Like Mando says, if he were to become an actor, he's way too tall to blend in with the main characters, because he's always going to be cast as he's never going to be a main character because he's just too tall. It just isn't going to happen. But it's to me, it's a really difficult issue, especially when it comes to little people, because. But then there's this. I've lost my train of thought. I'm really not trying to.
Well, and that's the thing. Like, so again, I usually try not to get political, but I've watched a Piers Morgan Uncensored, and he actually tackled this subject, and he had a little person actor, and he's basically said the same thing. He's like, look, if we're qualified for the job, why can't we get it? He's like, if you look at Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, literally 7 little people would have had jobs, plus their stunt doubles. So you're actually looking at 14, plus stand-ins. So you're looking at like 21 little people that could have had good paying jobs.
Before we continue, I just want to thank everyone who's come in. Hezekiah, thank you for coming by and stopping by to chime in with us. Hello, baby. Christopher O'Connor, everyone else who is lurking. I'm not trying to ignore you. I just want to pay attention to everybody on panel and in the chat as well. Little complicated today. Now, there is one thing I would like to say is my personal opinion is I believe the roles, like Mando said, for anything should go to whoever's the most talented actor. But for these traditional roles, I think it should be primarily little people. And it's not because I don't think they have the talent to do anything else. But I think it just because it's so hard for them to get actual work other than these roles, it's a bit unfair, especially when you get somebody like Hugh Grant, who they're just using CGI.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like Lord of the Rings. I mean, the argument was made before about Lord of the Rings with the Hobbits, and it's like I understood why they filmed it the way they did, because where are you going to get 3, 4, 5, 600 little people? So logistically, it made sense, but at the same time, they did such good justice to it that you couldn't really complain about it. Whereas with Snow White and Seven Dwarfs, it literally dwarf is in the name of the freaking movie. You know, I mean, it's kind of like saying, "Hey, you know, is the sky blue? You know, is water wet?" Well, yeah, okay. So why aren't we doing it?
Now, here's something else I wanted to talk about. Now, how do you guys feel about the changing of the Hollywood guard? We've had celebrities being canceled because of PC culture. And how do you feel this affects, new independent writers wanting to come in?
So the problem right now with our culture is, like you said, we're all PC. We're all canceling each other. I look at it like this. There used to be a time where you could separate an art from the artist. You know, if you enjoyed their artwork, whether it was film, whether it was actual artwork or books or whatever, but you didn't like the artist, you would still go out and either buy the book or buy whatever the movie is because you enjoyed the movie. Case in point, I despise Stephen King as a person. He is despicable, and I just don't care for him. But I love his work. I love his books. I love almost all the movies that or shows that he's ever done. So am I going to try to cancel him? No. In fact, I will go out and I will buy one of his books. You know, I don't care for him as a person, but I love his work. There are things in Star Wars that I absolutely hate. And I don't like Kathleen Kennedy because of her politics and of her attitude towards fans. But if she has a damn good director and they produce a damn good show or a damn good movie, I will go and I'll support that director. I'll go support that show or that movie or whatever it is that comes out. You know, I can separate the art from the artist. And a lot of people can't do it or they won't do it so that they can fit in, which is probably a reason why I will never be in mainstream Hollywood, is because I don't do that. I don't want to do that, and I don't think it's right that anybody should punish an artist for having an opinion. You know, we're allowed to have opinions. Yeah, there are things that I'm sure me and NCR have had opinions on that we didn't agree on, but I still respect him, and he still respects me. So it's like, why can't we do that right now in Hollywood?
I agree. Carrie T, welcome. I'm not ignoring anybody. Again, I want to pay attention to the panel as well. But on that note, I would like to, before we open up to having members of the chat come up and ask a question or get our takes on certain things that are going on in the world of cinema and pop culture right now. A couple of things going on with the channel. I am going to start doing the movie nights again. They will be streaming on the Patreon, and it will be streamed in Discord simultaneously. So if you haven't subscribed to the Patreon, don't worry. I'm going to be restructuring it to make it affordable for everybody to still get the movie nights, but some will have different perks at different tier levels. But for the movie nights I have lined up, I am going to try to do one for next Friday where we will be watching they're going to be school themed movies since it's back to school time. And I have a trailer for the first one we're going to be watching.
It better not be anime.
Don't tell me what to do, Senpai. Do not tell me what to do.
It's going to be anime with a goth chick.
No, it is the 1987 classic Summer School starring Mark Harmon. I have it muted because of, copyright. But I do have commentary for us. You know what? Screw it. Mando, you...
Freddie Shoot loves to cut class.
This is like one of my favorite movies.
Gee, I wonder why.
Because it would be me as a teacher.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure that's why.
No, if I was a teacher, I would be like Mark Harmon's character here.
And the only reason he hasn't been expelled yet is because he's the gym teacher.
Oh, Mr. Shoop.
At Oceanfront High.
Congratulations. You've been chosen to teach summer school.
Oh,
I'm not a teacher, man. I'm the gym teacher.
They're unmotivated, irresponsible, not too bright. They'll relate to you.
Oh, wow.
I'm teaching it.
I'm teaching it.
No way!
Right off the bat, you show them who's in charge. Please take your seats.
I honestly don't believe I've seen this.
Come in this time, I pass. You're gonna do well, Jerome. I can feel it.
I've seen some of your students. Very scary.
There's a very valid reason for summer vacation. The human
Wow.
brain needs rest.
This is actually a really funny movie. It's highly entertaining, and I think we're all going to have a good time watching it.
I think I would remember if I had seen it. I definitely haven't. So I'm looking forward to it.
You need an intelligent, sensitive man who can skate.
Kirstie Alley.
Do you know such a guy?
Oh, they're hard to find. In the Oceanfront High summer school class of 87.
As smart as you and me. You and I.
All of us. Paramount Pictures presents a new film by Carl Reiner. Summer School.
I love this film. It had passion, plucky spirit. Dave, I agree with you. Thumbs up from me. Same here. To sum it up, I'm Chainsaw. I'm Dave. We'll see you at the movies.
Oh, gosh.
That actually does not look that bad, given that it was from the 80s.
It is actually really funny, and here is it's not a full spoiler, but it's one of my favorite scenes in the movie, and you guys will get a kick out of it. The tall gentleman that intimidated Mark Harmon actually steps away to use the bathroom. And, well, he's gone for the entire duration of the class, for the exception of the final exam. And it's like, they ask him where he's been. He's like, I've been in the bathroom because my zipper has broken. It's just one of those funny little things in the movie.
Not that kind of Christian, let's not do that here.
This is a drama-free thing. I'm not going to talk about anything like that here. This is a movie and entertainment stream. This is the only warning I'm going to give. We're not going to talk about drama and stuff like that. If that's what you're here for, I ask you to leave it at the door, because we're just here to have a good time, talk about upcoming movies and movie nights. Now, I'm going to open up the panel to guests in the chat. And again, I want to address this is only going to be talking about movies and things going on in pop culture. If you're here to start drama, I will boot you. Mods will be given permissions to time out. And I will refer to you. No any isms of any kind. No bombing of any kind. No anything that will be. Let's just have fun here.
Yeah. But
hey, social red hair.
So Jared, if you're still here, yeah, we can
Yeah,
talk
Jared's question. Let me bring it back up here real quick. Mando, here is Jared's question for you.
being up the strike and how it's affecting the release. So the strike is kind of a weird thing. It's not what is actually being put out there.
Hey, Diamond Day.
There is a concern about AI.
Richard?
And in my opinion, it's kind of well warranted, given what AI is able to do right now versus what it could do in the next 3 to 5 years. So, like from an editor standpoint, AI has helped me out a lot with some of the effects and stuff that I've been playing with. But it won't ever completely replace like an editor. It won't completely replace the actors. They have done a lot with the deep fakes and stuff. Their concern is that right now, if you sign a contract with the studio for a film, they own the rights to your likeness and everything for that film. There really isn't anything preventing them from continuing to use your likeness for future projects. So one of the things that they are saying is, hey, no, this isn't right. You know, if you're going to use our likeness for any purpose, we should get paid. Another point of contest for them is streaming services. So in movies, when you sign a contract, so let's say I sign a contract to be the big ass Mando in one of Lucasfilm's films, right? Or even series. One film. So the movie itself, the contract would say, hey, Mando Mike, you're going to get paid, let's say $80,000 plus you're going to get 1 or 2% royalties for the life of the film.
Mando, I have to stop you for a second. That, as a Florida man, that is very sad to hear, sir. It's very sad.
Mark, I hate to tell you this. I think I might have found your alligator. You weren't born with a scaly tail, were you?
But continue, Mando, with your point.
So, like I said, let's say they say I get paid $80,000 plus, let's say 1% royalties from the movie, and that adds up throughout the year. You know, the sales. So 1% of, let's say, $1 billion. You're looking at what, 100,000 roughly, give or take. Well, that's pretty damn big paycheck for me. The thing is, Hollywood has to disclose how much they make on that film, and they have to be honest about it. There's a lot of accountability. Streaming services, however, the last, I'd say 3 to 5 years, roughly, they haven't been completely honest about their numbers. So the actors and the writers and the directors aren't getting paid a huge amount like they should be. Now they're still getting paid a good amount. Don't get me wrong, but if they're supposed to get paid $50,000, they're only getting $45,000. Yeah, they're going to bitch about where that other $5,000 is, and they have every right to. Right now, the streaming services like Disney, for example, they can say that they have 1 million subscribers on their services, but in actuality, they only have, let's say, 800,000. Well, they're not going to disclose that 800,000 because they don't want their shareholders to get worried that they lost 200,000 subscribers. Same thing if it goes into positive. So they can say, hey, I have 1 million subscribers. In actuality, they have 2 or 3 million. Well, now the actor isn't getting paid for those extra 1 to 2 million subscribers or viewers like they should be. So they're trying to renegotiate the contracts so that they fall in line with the industry standards. So honestly, I'm kind of for it. I am not a union member, and I probably never will be because, again, I'll probably never get that big because of my views, I guess. But at the same time, I still support what they're doing. As far as it interfering with productions, it's already interfered. The first round of strikes was the screenwriters and I believe the directors, although I could be mistaken on that. But the first round of strikes already backed up a lot of shows and a lot of film. Now with the actors joining in, it's going to push everything back a lot. In one aspect, it kind of sucks because we're used to having, we're used to having a lot of content. In another aspect, it's actually kind of good because during the pandemic, there was a flood of content. So in one aspect, one theory is that maybe the slowdown will help to let us reset for new projects coming out. In the short term, I think we probably still have about another 6 months to, at most, a year before we actually see any real effect.
Mm-hmm.
But in the long term, I give it 1 to 2 years, and you'll start seeing shows getting put on the shelf. In fact, they're already talking about The Mandalorian season 4, I think. They're already talking about just changing it to be a full-length movie because of the strike. And some of the shows that would work great on because we've had all this build up, so let's follow through with something big.
So, Mando, is that your final notes on the strike itself?
Yeah.
All right. We got our first question coming in from I don't know how to pronounce this person's name. A Damian Paxton.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. It's good to see you, buddy. What question do you have for us?
Just wondering what your guys' take on the shocking portrayal of video games in movies, and I'm talking about like adaptations on the big screen.
Personally, being a child of cinema that's seen several video game adaptations come out, and some of these games are games I've played, like Mario movie, Sonic the Hedgehog, Blood Rain, Mortal Kombat. I personally am not a big fan of certain directors getting the rights to video game adaptations. Mando, what's your take?
I honestly am not a fan of the attempts so far. There have been one or two that came out, and I can't remember if it was the Mario one, if it was the original Doom. But there's been a couple that came out that were, I wouldn't say great, but they were decent. The problem is that it's kind of like Star Wars. There's such a huge following per game that it's hard to please everybody. They It's like they try to do it on the cheap too. Uh, so it's like it's almost there, but it's not quite up to the standard of cinema. For fan films, they would be fine. For indie films, they'd be fine. But to get up to professional level, they don't really bring in enough of a return on investment for Hollywood to take them seriously.
Well, the thing for me is the reason they do that is they stray so far from the source material that gamers that go to see the movie expecting the game on the big screen don't like it because it's nothing like the game, and people going to see the movie have no idea what's going on.
I agree with you, Damien, and I'll give you a case that I enjoy is I love the Resident Evil games. I've played almost all of them.
Yep.
I own several of them. I've seen all of the movies, for the exception of the new animated movie. But I agree with you. When I first heard about the first Resident Evil, I was expecting a version of Resident Evil 1 on the big screen.
The man
And when
Valentine and all that, yeah.
And when they announced Welcome to Raccoon City, and I saw all the production for it, I'm like, okay, this is the first two games. I'm down for that.
Yeah.
But it was kind of a letdown. Because, again, because for me personally, it felt like they rushed both stories to meet. And I couldn't really immerse myself completely.
Well, that's been the argument of source material to film for decades. It's so let's take Lord of the Rings for example. If you've read the books and you actually watch the films, it's close to the source material, but it's not the source material. So it's like it's hard to please. Again, it's hard to please everybody because when you read a book or when you play a game, you have a certain identity attached to the character, and then to see somebody else come in and change that identity, it affects how you feel about the film.
Well, what pissed me off about the Resident Evil movies is that the character Alice doesn't exist anywhere in the Resident Evil universe. She's not in any of the games, any of the spin-offs, anything that's actual Resident Evil. She does not exist. They created her, put her on a pedestal like Wonder Woman, had all the main characters as support characters making a cameo, basically worshipping her for the entire franchise.
Which is part of the issue that we have right now with our film industry is, and we touched base on this earlier, is all of the, for lack of a better term, the social justice stuff, which is, female empowerment, minority empowerment, insert whatever here empowerment. And in certain aspects, it works. In other aspects, it doesn't because you're trying too hard to essentially remake a cake. You need the ingredients first before you can actually bake a cake. And if you're trying to change too much of it, you're not going to get what you want. And that's why I said earlier, whoever's the best talent, that's what should be on screen. Whoever can write the screenplay for it properly and still stay true to the source material, that's what should be put out there.
Well, that's what I mean is that not all the main characters are male. There are main female characters in there, like Claire Redfield and Jill Valentine. There are non-white characters in the games. Why couldn't they have just put her as one of those main characters rather than creating one character which doesn't exist to be worshipped.
Yeah, and that's again, we're going on the same thing. It's their objective or agenda versus the actuality. I remember, I'm old enough to remember when Hunger Games came out, and people were like, "Oh, finally, the first ever strong female character lead," and I'm thinking,
Yeah, that made me laugh.
yeah, I'm like, really? Have y'all not seen any movies like pre-2000? I mean, you got what, Aliens? You got freaking Tomb Raider. You got
Terminator.
Terminator. I mean, you got all these strong women leads, and honestly, some of the women do better with the supporting actress positions because they bring a certain touch to the movie that you can't replicate.
I would
so-
like to touch on that.
Wasn't it Jennifer Lawrence herself that said that?
Yes,
Yeah.
Jennifer Lawrence did say that she was the first female action lead that people can look up to with the Hunger Games. But I, again, bring to the point, what about Sigourney Weaver in Aliens? What
Yeah.
about Linda Hamilton in the Terminator films? Angelina Jolie in stuff like Tomb Raider, Wanted,
Yep.
Salt. Mia Jovovich for her role of Alice. I know it's controversial for you, Damien, but she was a strong, independent character in the first two movies.
If you separate the Resident Evil part from the actual movies, I like the movies.
Mm-hmm.
It's just
And there were so many other. What about Nancy Allen, who played Lewis in the RoboCop films?
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
See, and that's the thing. As going through my journey and stuff, I've written, probably 5 different scripts through my time in school. One of the things they tell us is if you have a vision for whatever your script is, stick to that vision. Be true to yourself. Be true to the script. So, when they try to push in the whole agenda stuff, it's like it doesn't work because that script wasn't made for that in mind. Like I said earlier, if you have a female that wants to come in and try out for the male lead, she better blow your socks off, and this way it justifies rewriting the script. If she doesn't blow your socks off, like if she's not better than every single male lead that came out to apply for that, then why would you change the script? A script rewrite is a pain in the ass because you literally have to go through and rewrite every little detail. The interactions of characters are different. The male lead has a much different feel and interaction with supporting talent than a female would. And also there's the psychological aspect that, yes, we do love strong female leads, but we also love having a strong female supporting actress. Case in point, look at the original Star Wars. Leia is a damn strong supporting actress, and in a lot of cases, the argument could be made that she is actually a lead actress.
I wouldn't say supporting actress. I would say she's definitely a lead actress.
I would agree with that.
And that's what I'm saying. It's like the way the script was written was for her, and that's how it was portrayed. When you imagine if you gender swapped Luke and Leia, do you think that it would have had such a huge following back in the 70s and 80s? We're talking a time where honestly women didn't get huge breakout roles like that. Like I think I saw Mark make the comment earlier. There are things that when you write it for the time period, it won't make sense the older it gets. So things like, let's say MASH, for example, a damn good show when it came out, and a lot of the issues that they tackled are still relatable today. Now, granted, the writing is quirky as hell by today's standards, but they attacked the issues of that time in such a way that you can relate to it. Then you have shows like, God, what was that one?
The one with Freddie Prinze,
Yeah,
Chico and the Man.
Yeah, it did not age all that well.
Yeah,
Well,
stuff like Chico and the Man. It didn't really age well. Sanford and Son. Funny shows. Funny shows.
Even All in the Family, the most controversial and in several episodes, probably the most racist shit that could be put in the TV show.
Mm-hmm.
Even that you can still relate to today because you're looking at it going, well, yeah, there were and there are some people as asshole as Archie Bunker is. But then you can relate to seeing his character change and develop. And I think that's the biggest thing, honestly, is character changing and development. You need to have that in whatever you have, whether it's a show, whether it's a movie. You got to see the whole hero arc develop. And that's what it's called, is the hero arc. You have your fall from grace, your trials, your trials to get back to the redemption, and then you have your redemption, and that's what people want to see, is that hero arc. If you don't have that in any of your products or any of your projects, you're not going to have a successful project. There are, of course, exceptions to the rules. There are reverse hero arcs where we want to see the villains, but even then, those are hard to portray because you don't want to make the villain a hero, but at the same time, you still want to see a development. Birds of Prey or Suicide Squad, whatever the hell they want to call it now, is a prime example. There was a fairly decent villain arc to it, but they went way too far when they came out with the sequel of trying to make Harley Quinn into a hero. And it's like, no, that's not the psychological nature of that character.
Yeah.
I'm a huge fan of Joker and Harley. Like, to me, they are the best villain couple ever. I'm not a fan of when they started changing the dynamic relationship back in, I think it was 94 or 96. The killing, or is it Killing of Mr. J or something like that?
The Killing Joke?
Yeah, where they took Harley Quinn and they essentially made her gay and put her with Poison Ivy.
No, that's two different things right there. The Killing Joke was an Alan Moore story about the Joker's possible origins.
That's what I was thinking. There's so many things I've read and seen that it's hard to keep track.
Now, the thing with Harley Quinn and the Joker, off again, on again relationship, that's something that's been done in comics by different writers, and it's been handled poorly. It's been handled excellently. Again, there's always been that romance between her and Poison Ivy, but
see, in my opinion, it would have been handled so much better if they would have incorporated the three of them. In my opinion, I think I would have loved to have seen a Joker, Harley, and Ivy story arc instead of essentially demasculating Joker. Ivy could have actually raised them up, raised those two up to a different level, and I think that the trio, the threat of the trio would have been so much better than how they had it where they split like that.
Well, again, that's a topic for a much bigger show than this, because that's something that's been done since the mid '90s. Again, the most iconic comic book issue of Batman is Mad Love, which is essentially the Joker breaking up with Harley and her realizing he doesn't love her. But again, that's a topic for another day.
Yeah.
What about talking about villain arcs? What about that Gerard Butler movie, Law Abiding Citizen?
I actually enjoyed Law Abiding Citizen.
I actually have not seen that, so I can't comment.
It's a really great, vengeance movie, for a lack of a better word.
Yeah.
Gerard Butler, he plays the average law-abiding citizen. And God, it's been a while since I've seen it. Was it his son or his wife?
His daughter and his wife were killed, and Jamie Foxx plays the prosecutor who makes a deal with the killer to get a bigger fish. But
So
letting him off.
Gerard Butler ends up. I think he killed the guy who killed his wife and daughter. Gets sent to prison, escapes, and goes on his quest for vengeance, leading up to Jamie Foxx and a final showdown. Again, it's a great movie, and Gerard Butler in there is phenomenal.
The way it's done, most of the comments are supporting Gerard Butler's character, and he's the main villain.
Now that brings up another valid point: is the anti-hero.
Yeah.
And one of my favorite anti-hero movies is The Boondock Saints.
Yes.
I
agree.
A great independent film, a great story. But
I love Willem Dafoe in that movie.
Oh yeah, he steals the show.
Well, see, and that's the thing. Like right now, there's such an oversaturation of remakes, of reimaginings, even. That, like I said earlier, a lot of people are having a bad taste in their mouth with standard Hollywood, and are finding more of their entertainment with the indie films. There's an indie film where I got to meet the director and the producer called, I believe it's Werewolves Come Out at Midnight, and it's an indie horror film. And I watched it, and I actually loved it. And I don't like horror movies all that much because the Hollywood ones, again, they follow pretty much the same kind of arc, the same. Hell, Scary Movies, that whole franchise made fun of horror movies, and to me, that's how I felt. It's like, yes, you always get the well-endowed woman who runs off and trips on water sprinklers and ends up dying. One or two people will go out into the woods by themselves. They end up dying. The black guy usually dies. The white people are usually morons, and it's like, I'm sorry. I'd rather have horror movies like Underworld, even though it technically wasn't a horror movie. To me, that was more genuine than a lot of the modern horror movies.
Now, I will say this, as an avid horror movie fan, and you guys know this about me, I'm a huge horror movie nut. I can date back horror films to the black and white era. Now, there are some issues with Mando's statement I have to take, the whole well-endowed. A lot of that is what people who were making horror films in the 80s thought made a good horror film. They thought, oh, well, gratuitous violence and gratuitous nudity is what you need. But if you have a solid story, and again, if you look at something like the first Friday the 13th and Nightmare on Elm Street, the Halloween, the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, Black Christmas, there was not a lot of gratuitous violence or nudity. The stories were intriguing enough to keep you there.
I was just thinking with the female leads, the first Friday the 13th movie, everyone thinking it's Jason Voorhees, but spoiler alert, the mother all along.
Played by Betsy Palmer. And Betsy Palmer was a tremendous actress in that film. And then you get somebody like Heather Langenkamp, who played Nancy in the first Nightmare on Elm Street, a strong survival girl who fought back.
That poor boy. He was just floating there in the lake.
And again, look at someone like Jamie Lee Curtis in the first Halloween.
Yeah.
Well, see, that's the thing. Like, I don't like the stereotypical, like you said, the 80s and that's predominantly where a lot of it came from, was the 80s, where you had to have certain types, you had to have certain characteristics. I like more of the psychological things, like It, for example, the movie and not the show. The show sucked, but I
don't
love.
know. I kind of like both.
You know what? The show was, you could tell it was being directed and produced by Stephen King versus the movie, which he had nothing to do with. And I think the movie was better. The show wasn't bad, but
the book's definitely worse.
Oh yeah, and so it's like I said,
two worlds.
It's like I'd rather have the psychological aspects versus, like you said, the gratuitous violence, the nonsense violence. You know, if the violence makes sense, then yeah, put it in there. But honestly, I mean, we just saw the Freddy Krueger fan film trailer.
Mm-hmm.
I don't really care for the horror movies like that. I mean, I like them, but it drove me in because you could tell there's a lot of psychological to it, and they used the right voiceovers for it. They used the right clips, and that's my biggest issue when I look at film and TV now. Is I'm starting to see it from an editor standpoint of, well, why did they choose this versus that? Case in point, Star Trek, Strange New Worlds. They just did their Bohemian Raps, whatever. They basically did their musical episode. I liked it. I thought it was cool, but there were shots in there that, in my opinion, took away from the impact of the songs. And if I was ever given the chance to re-edit it, I would definitely change probably 25 to 30% of the shots they used. The one thing I do like about horror movies is that the directors and the editors know how, for the most part, know how to make the cut at the exact moment that you need that suspense.
If we can get everyone's final thoughts on this subject, because I'm going to have to wrap it up soon. And I want to make a couple of announcements about the channel.
Movies. With the leading ladies. I forgot Gina Davis.
Oh, yes, Gina Davis.
She was great. A Long Kiss Goodnight.
Yeah. Yeah, she was.
That's everyone's final thoughts. I want to wrap it up with this is I want to turn this into like a weekly thing where we can have more movie talks. And I am going to try to reach out to other content creators and get their opinions on certain stuff. But this was just something as a test run for today. Again, we will be doing the movie nights on both Patreon and the Discord. So if you haven't, don't worry about if you haven't subscribed to the Patreon. It's just I will keep it very low so people can get the most out of their money's worth when it comes to the structures. But if you don't have the funds, I will stream it on Discord. The only thing is it will be archived on Patreon. And I might try to move to doing more, getting some of the reviews on here as well on the main channel. Nothing else is going to change, just some stuff I'm kicking around. And again, I want to thank Maddie, I want to thank Mando, and I want to thank Damien for coming up.
Yeah, my pleasure, man.
Mando, if there's anything you want to plug, please feel free to do so.
So right now, my channel is taking a shift. I think I mentioned this on my last live stream. I'm kind of like with NCR. We'll be pushing more towards the film aspects. You guys will be able to see more of my projects as they come up. I do have, like NCR mentioned earlier, I do have a Star Wars fan film that I'm trying to raise funds for. Once we get closer to actually getting serious for raising funds for it, I'll have a link for it. So look for those announcements on my channel. I also have a short one-room challenge video that I'm going to be starting pre-production on in the next month or so. And then I have a longer short film, so almost a feature film length video or movie that I'll be doing production on probably around April of next year.
Diamond Dave, I want to say this. You guys are not my guinea pigs. You guys are like those big, fluffy Angora rabbits that get pampered and spoiled. That's how I see you guys. You guys are never guinea pigs. My viewers, my subs, my members, you guys are never guinea pigs. You guys are just the best to me. Especially, I've been sick for the past almost week now, and you guys have been just encouraging me to take a break. But I still push out content for you guys because when you guys
the only
watch
guinea pigs are us up here.
But the words of encouragement of I hope you get well, feel better soon. Seeing that and seeing you guys watch my stuff, it makes me feel better even when I'm sick and hurting. So you guys are the best and the best fans and viewers and subscribers I can have. With all that being said, be well, be safe, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Bye.
Bye.
Hashtag rip chair.
Y'all come back now, you hear?